guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I have a bit of a different video. As you guys have noticed, I've been going to a lot of like vintage market type things lately. I actually went to one this past weekend as well, and I've been getting so many DMs from you guys asking me to give you guys some tips on like how I go, or like if I have any like tips when I go. So I did a little list on my paper here, so I'm gonna tell you guys some of my biggest tips for when you go to like vintage markets. Some of these could apply also to like vintage stores or like thrift stores. It's not like specific to just vintage markets, but I'm gonna be focusing a little bit more on that. So the first tip that I have is before you go to actually look for inspiration. I think this is like one of the biggest keys that I do before going to one of these vintage markets. Like, so that way it gives you a little bit more ideas of things to look for. So I always make a list of things that I really want to find. So like, say I really want to find like 1950s dresses, like I have that in my mind to make sure that I check for it, because there's been so many times that I haven't looked for inspiration and then I've gone and then I've come home and like looked at a photo and be like, oh, I should have looked for plaid pants, like I didn't think to like look for it. I find it to be really helpful, so I definitely recommend doing that. You can find some on like Pinterest or Instagram. It's probably like the best places to find inspiration, or just simply by like googling different styles that you're kind of interested in and seeing what pops up. Along with those lines, just having like a really clear idea of things that you want to find is also very helpful. Like, don't close yourself off by just limiting yourself to those pieces, but it definitely gives you an idea of things that you want. Like, for example, I really like 50s and 60s style clothing, so if I find things that are from like the 90s, like I'm not going to bother looking at it because it's not really my style. So that definitely cuts down the amount of time that you spend looking through the clothes, and as well as the different little sections that there are in these kind of markets. Okay, so the day of the market that you're going to, I think one of my biggest tips is, of course, like I feel like wearing a backpack is really helpful, just because you have your hands free. You want to be able to sort through everything, or if you purchase things, you want to be able to have your hands free to like carry bags or like whatever you buy. These kind of markets do get very busy, so you don't want to take up too much time. You don't want to take up too much time when you're trying things on, so definitely wear things that are really easy to change in and out of. So like avoid clothes that have like buttons on them, or like annoying clasps like on the back of this collar. Like say this blouse has like a really annoying tiny little button at the back, which like I hate changing in and out of, so I wouldn't wear something like this. So something like, say, like a turtleneck and like a skirt with like one button or like a zipper on the side would be really easy to just change in and out of. And along with those lines, a lot of these places have an actual change room in one portion of the convention center as opposed to in each booth. So say the Toronto Vintage Market, that's the kind of setup that they have. So you go into the one section in the convention center and it's pretty much like this massive curtain, and inside there's like chairs and mirrors, and that's pretty much it. So you're changing in front of everybody. So I personally always wear like a pair of black tights and a black tank top underneath all of my clothes that I wear. So I'll usually end up wearing like a pair of black tights like these that are just like really dark. And then I'll wear like a black tank top and wear like a turtleneck and like a pair of black shorts that have like one zipper or something. Really easy. That way I'm like very easily can just change in and out of in these kind of settings without feeling like awkwardly uncomfortable like being naked in front of all these people. So that's just like a personal preference. Like, you're more than welcome to just kind of wear whatever, but I just find that to be really easy. And if you are going to a vintage market of sorts in the summertime, you can always wear like a pair of shorts and like a tank top underneath like a dress or something. I just find that to be really easy. Of course, in your backpack you always want to have hand sanitizer, and you want to bring a lot of cash. A lot of these places don't take cards. Recently I've been finding that most of the booths do take credit cards, like they have that Square app for like iPhones, but you always want to have cash with you, and it also limits the amount of money that you can spend, because I've gone to vintage markets and just kind of went like card crazy, and then I look at my card bill and I'm like, yikes, like how much stuff did I buy? So definitely bringing cash will just limit the amount of money that you're spending, and you're going to be a little bit more conscious of what you're buying. Another tip that I have is to always check hashtags. If you're going to a vintage market, check the hashtag or check the location, because a lot of the vendors will actually post a picture of their stand beforehand, and sometimes in the photo you'll see something that you really like. That way you can head onto that booth first. So this actually happened to me when I went to the Toronto Vintage Market this past year, because one of the vendors posted a photo of their stand the night before, and there was like this white circle luggage that I would have totally bought, but I didn't see the photo till like the day after, and it was obviously already gone, and it was so sad. So just make sure you check hashtags and see if you see anything in one of those photos that you really like. That way you can kind of get that right when you get there if you really like it. So when it is actually the day of and you're in the convention center, I usually just go in order and just kind of follow the way all the booths go, like at the beginning, and just kind of go around. Sometimes you can go backwards and there'll be even less people, especially if you go during opening times. If you go like the opposite way that everybody else is going, you kind of like avoid the crowds a little bit. Sometimes they do have dividers for either decades or size, so I always make sure to check my size and check the sections that I want to look at. Like I mentioned before, obviously I'm not going to be looking at the 90s and like the 2000s kind of clothing. I'm going to stick to the 50s and 60s, and just kind of like cuts down the amount of time that you're spending in each booth, as well as for sizes. So like say they have like a section of skirts and there's like they're divided by size, I'll look at my size, and the rest I don't really spend that much time on them just because I know they're not going to fit me and I'll just be disappointed. So if anything, I look like at each piece in my size, and then I'll just kind of glance through the other ones and kind of pick out things that I kind of like that maybe could work. But some booths like literally don't have any sizing or dividers or anything, so you kind of do have to look through each piece. So make sure you do that if there is no divisions for sizes or styles or anything, just because you don't want to miss anything. I feel like I'm talking like very fast. I'm just really excited. The tip is to not buy everything you see in the first stand. This has happened to me so many times. Like I'll go in and the first few booths will have amazing pieces and I'll want to buy everything and I'll buy all this random stuff, and then I keep going and all the other booths have amazing things. So like I don't want to spend too much money on the first ones that I see because I want to look at everything. But again, this is kind of like a tip, but not really, because if you do see something that you love, snatch it up, because the next person could just very easily get it. If you do look around and you see things that you do like, but you're not sure if you want to buy them or not, keep like a little list on your notes on your phone or something, and like what the vendor is. That way you can kind of go back at the very end and just see what's left, or like if you still want that piece, that way you remember where it's from. Like I mentioned, I do always go in order and go to every single booth, and then at the very end, when I get to the end, I like to just kind of go back and just do everything again and kind of see what's left over, or if I'd missed something. These kind of events you have to go with time and knowing that you're gonna have to like look through everything. So don't go in a time crunch or you will be like really stressed out. So make sure you give yourself like ample time to look through everything, just because obviously like you don't want to miss anything. So another tip that I have is to leave silk scarves for the end. All of these booths will have silk scarves or like cute little wraps or something that you're gonna love, but you can get them for so cheap, and usually it's like $5–6. So just leave them for the very end for your spare money. That's what you can get that with. Don't spend all your money buying silk scarves, because this literally, I have been there, like you will spend so much money on it and you could have gotten other things, and you can literally get silk scarves anywhere. Like even the thrift store will have them for like $2. So unless you really love it, get it. If not, leave it for the end and buy it with your spare money, honestly. So yeah, those are pretty much my tips. I don't really have anything else. This is a really quick video. Like it's like really not that intense. Like I feel like most of these tips are pretty self-explanatory. I just kind of combine them all into one video. So yeah, I hope you guys like this video. Let me know in the comments below any other type of videos that you guys want to see in the upcoming spring. A lookbook is coming. It's just been really cold, so hopefully I'm able to get that up in the next couple of weeks. I know it's a little bit delayed compared to everybody else's lookbooks that are already up. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video. I hope you guys liked it. Make sure to subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! That was a weird kiss. Okay, bye.